Merry Christmas! Hello, and welcome to Fantasy Awash. It's our Christmas video, and we got a lot of books. So we're
That was basically all we got.
That's pretty much all we got. We got a few other things. Yeah. But those also, well, one of them will also involve books because one of them is a trip. And I'm going to go to bookstores on said trip. So we are going to talk about all the books that we got. Some books, or one book I knew I was getting, so that was kind of not a surprise, but the rest for the most part were. And Josh had asked for a couple of gifts, but that were specific books, but other than that, they were all surprised. But Josh's stack is a little bit heftier than mine.
You got an entire series. I wanted book ones.
I committed. I committed. Only because this author has been read by Josh before, and he has really liked him. So,
well, on that note, shall I begin?
Begin.
All right. So we will start with the entire Coin and Dagger series by Daniel Abraham. Now, let me point something out that's going to really bother Laura. This book is not the same size as the rest.
It's horrendous.
If there is one thing that you need to know about her is that she will look at this or look at the shelf. There's literally a book on the shelf that's about 1/8 of an inch taller than the rest, and she just sits there and stares at it.
I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it at all.
As we said in books we're looking forward to reading in 2024, I'm looking forward to reading, I said book 1, but now the entire series of Daniel Abraham, who's half of the James S.A. Corey writer of The Expanse. I really enjoyed that, and I'm really looking forward to this series. I'll
go next out of my gorgeous pile here, and it was the book that I was expecting, and that is Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. I'm so close to being done with Stormlight 4, and then I can jump into this.
Does so close mean there's only about 800 pages left?
Not quite. I'm not sure in terms of pages because I've been listening to the audiobook for this, but I have about, I think I'm at 68% through the audiobook. So I'm getting there. For a 56-hour audiobook, I've done very well. I then also have Dawnshard to finish, but then it's going to be Sunlit Man. And that will be the last Cosmere secret project that I get to read. Look how pretty this book is. I mean, just so nice.
It's a nice looking book.
Yeah, I don't normally like black for sprayed edges, but I was saying to Josh, it just matches and it looks very, very beautiful. So I'm excited to read this one. I've seen divisive opinions on this, that some people really love Sunlit Man and other people think it's fine. But I always like finding a new world in the Cosmere, so I'm excited. But yes, that was my first book of the day.
My next entry is going to be another triple, well actually not another, it's going to be first triple entry. And it is a series of books by GGK. These are books that I have not read. I've read 3 of his works. I'm trying to take it slow because I like reading his work so much. I don't want to zip through it like Laura did with The Year of Sanderson. But there's Tagana, there is Children of Earth and Sky, and there's A Song for Avon, which I know Laura has read. So I'm looking forward to all 3 of these. I'm hoping to maybe read 1 per quarter because, again, I don't want to go too fast for GGK.
That's fair. I think I'll probably read Tagana at some point in the spring. That will likely be my next GGK one. I've read 2 GGK, being Lions of Alrasan and A Song for Our Bun, but they were both very, very good. Lions I liked a little bit extra, but still both very, very good. The next set for me is these 3, and oh, I know, I'm getting there. It is the Mina Lima Harry Potters, and oh my gosh, guys. They are amazing. I am so excited. I have been going through just the first one so far today, and I am jazzed because even though there's a ton of stuff I want to read in 2024, I also feel like it's going to be a year of rereads for me. This is now a strong contender just based on how cool these books are. Like, I'm probably going to take some closer up images with my phone and supplement them in because it's just so nice, and I want people to actually see how nice they are. They feel like really nice books. Feel the book.
Nice.
Isn't it nice? No, really, really feel it.
I did. It's like I'm in Oxford right now.
I appreciate a nice feeling book. That was one of the things I like best about the secret projects for Sanderson is they just feel nice to hold. All three of them are like this. I think they release one a year, so I didn't realize this until about 3 months ago, and I kind of put it on my Christmas list and then forgot about it. So I am excited about these because they're just so pretty. I think honestly they're probably going to be the prettiest books I own other than the Sanderson ones because the insides have so much stuff. It's almost like every page has something. It's awesome. I'm really excited.
Next entry is by Scott Lynch, The Lies of Locke Lamora. I have not heard of this book, unlike a few that Laura got me where I had heard of it, and it may not have been on my list, but I still had heard of it.
I have heard a lot about this book and thought that Josh would like it. Also, it has been recommended to me, so it was kind of a double gift in that it was gifted to Josh, but I too will read it.
So it sounds from the back that it's a Robin Hood and Three Musketeers-esque story. So I am looking forward to that. And Scott Lynch seems to be getting some pretty good reviews from what I've seen this morning when I looked him up. So I'm very much looking forward to reading my first Scott Lynch book. All right. Speaking of another author now that I have heard of, and a book I have heard of, is John Gwyn Malice. John Gwyn was on my list to read in 2024 after I got through about 17 other books. But again, another author that is pretty popular on BookTube for having some fairly high on BookTubers lists books. So John Gwyn is going to make an appearance for my reading list on 2024. It'll be the first time that I've read one of his works. I see the theme here. Gifts that you're giving yourself.
I mean, that's the fun part of giving a book is that you can enjoy it and I can enjoy it, and then we can talk about it for the masses. So it can once again be Fantasy Awash and Mr. Fantasy Awash, aka Mr. Worldwide. Mr. Worldwide. So the next book on my list, or that I was given, is Into the Narrow Dark by Tad Williams. I had started Dragonbone Chair last year. I haven't finished it yet, but I actually really liked it. It's just, I started it on the audiobook and it was way too much information for an audiobook read, so I need to sit down and actually read the physical copy. And at that point too, we had the traditional paperback, mass paperback, is that what they're called? Mass market paperback, and I don't like those because
it's a massive book, and the mass market paperback was about yay big.
Yeah, it was way too small and
like 3 fonts.
Yeah, I'm pretty much blind when it comes to reading, so I need large old lady fonts. So that didn't work for me. But this, according to Josh, is connected to that universe in some way. I don't know exactly how yet.
It mentions the last king of Osten-Ar.
It does.
And I know that name was mentioned as in the first 57 or so pages of Dragonbone Chair that I read.
So I assume I will read Dragonbone Chair first, and then I will come to this. I need to check the specific order to see what's what. But I'm excited because I liked what I read of Tad Williams, and I know that Tad Williams was a big inspiration for George R.R. Martin.
And speaking of George R.R. Martin, and also continuing with the illustrated themes, we have the first 2 books of the Song of Ice and Fire series. Laura got them for me. We already have the normal pleb versions up there, but these have gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations.
Yes.
As I try to find one. Oh, look, there's Dragonstone. So upon our reread this year of The Song of Ice and Fire, I will be reading these as the first 2 books. I don't know, are these another one that's another series they're doing annually?
I don't know. I didn't see any beyond 3, so it might be that they're doing them annually. I'm not entirely sure. But if you know, please let me know down in the comments, because I found this because a lot of people on BookTube have talked about how much they love the illustrated series. So the next book is one that I was not expecting, and it is The Half-Drowned King, a novel by Linnea Hartsuyker. I'm so sorry, Linnea. I will look up how to say her name. Right now, I do not know how. So I know nothing about this book thus far, other than it is inspired somewhat by Norse mythology. It seems like it is Norse-inspired, also historical fiction-inspired, and possibly with a tinge of fantasy. So it's all the things that I like wrapped possibly into one book. I believe it's the beginning of a series, correct? It's book 1. I believe it is,
yes.
So if it's something that I enjoy, I will probably go to book 2. I usually give it series at least 2 books, so That's likely what's going to happen anyway. I'm trying to see if the other books are listed here. They're not, but I'm going to look it up and see what I think of it. If you've read this, let me know because I'm curious.
All right. Next one on my list is Red Rising. This book is another one, again, that's appeared on many a booktubers, excuse me.
Yeah. We're our own class of people.
Yes.
Not like those club regulars.
I'm about to say, and
YouTubers.
at least this booktuber, has an air of superiority about that. But this is another book that I've heard of and I was interested in, but I did not specifically ask for, so it was a nice surprise getting it. I see from the opening page that it takes place on, I won't say exactly where, I don't want to say any spoilers, but it takes place in a certain place that you've already heard of. And that has also piqued my interest. So I think this book is going to go up pretty high on my 2024 read list unexpectedly because I have a lot, as you've seen, of GCK. I've stepped into the universe of Sanderson.
He started a lot.
And she started playing chess. So this is great.
This is the arrangement. If you recall from our top 5 books of the year, that was when we discussed, I wanted Josh to read the Stormlight Archive in exchange for learning chess. We came to another arrangement in that he is going to read Elantris, Warbreaker, and Emperor's Soul. He has started Elantris, and so far...
You've started chess.
I have.
And
what are your feelings?
Elantris so far, I'm only about 150 pages in, but so far so good.
Exactly. So good.
We'll see.
My next book, speaking of Brandon Sanderson, is a Brandon Sanderson that I actually haven't heard of.
Do you know how it was nearly impossible to find a Sanderson book that she had not heard of but existed?
I thought initially when I saw the tag, because Josh wrote from Brandon, that it was possibly going to be Cytonic or in that universe, but this is The Many Lives of Stephen Leeds. And it seems kind of sci-fi-ish, so I'm excited to read it. I really haven't seen many people talk about it, so if you have read this and you're a big Brando Sando fan, let me know what you think. And
is that a nickname for him?
Oh, there's so many nicknames.
I've heard of the Sanderlanche.
The Sanderlanche is something that he's going to experience when he reads Elantris, but Brando Sando, it's happening.
All right, so the last book this year is The Narrow Road Between Desires by Patrick Rothfuss. As anyone who's watched one of our 2 earlier videos regarding books we've read in 2023 or we're looking forward to in 2024 know, I'm a big fan of Rothfuss, despite some of the controversies that have arisen. And I have to assume that he's never going to finish that trilogy. So this is as close as I'm going to get to a closing of the Kingkiller Chronicles. This book seems to follow a character, Bast, who makes pretty important, though not very qualitative rather than quantitative appearances in the first 2 books of the Kingkiller Chronicles. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to because I think he's probably my favorite character in those first 2 books, only 2 books. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I'm probably going to dive into this before finishing Elantris because it is a short book. It's only 230 pages and it's, as you can see, pretty small. So, and it's got some illustrations in it. So there's really no good reason for me not to start and finish this in the next few days.
My last book is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I haven't read anything by him before, but a few weeks ago, Josh and I went to Barnes & Noble. And
let me preface the story. Last year, incredibly annoyingly so, Laura predicted pretty much all of her Christmas gifts and wouldn't stop trying to predict them. Well, this year we were a few weeks ago, we were in Barnes & Noble, and she starts pointing to books like a kid in a candy store. Did you get me this? Did you get me this? Did you get me this? Trying to predict it. And this one was sitting down there.
I predicted this one.
It was sitting on the next to bottom shelf, and you never looked that way. You may have mentioned it by name at some point, but you didn't point to it. So I'm counting this as a surprise.
Either way, I actually know nothing of the plot. But I know that James Islington, this seems to be one of those series, once again, that's either a love or dislike for people on BookTube. So I'm curious to see where I fall on it. I believe it's only a trilogy, so chances are I'll likely read the whole trilogy just to kind of assess, because unless it's terrible, like, that's the only way that I won't read it. But I mean, I don't think you've had experiences with a couple authors where you're like,
I've had
no,
one
it's not for
author.
me.
I went into the book and it was just it. I got about, I don't know.
You've had that
60
twice.
Yes, but it was one of those things where I know Laura likes the books and I'm happy that she does, but it wasn't for me.
Which books?
Dragon Boat Chair and the first 2 pages of
Way of Kings. But no, that's not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Terry Goodkind and then the Thomas Covenant series.
Oh, the Thomas Covenant series is horrible. Absolutely horrible. He's a
No.
horrible writer. He thinks that if he uses words with 9 syllables that you have to look up, that he is somehow smarter than you, and he's proving it.
But I'm excited to read this and see how I feel about it. I always love finding a new series, and this is a completed series, which is one of my favorite things, which we've talked about in previous videos, because I love to binge things. So this is happening. That's all the books we got for Christmas. The next time you see our background here, it will likely look a bit different because now I have to find space for things and redecorate, which I'm actually really looking forward to doing, so that'll be fun. But we hope that you had a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope that you had a great weekend. If you don't celebrate, I hope you just had books laying around that you got to read and you super enjoyed them. Let us know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, what your feelings are on some of these books, if they're a favorite, a least favorite, whatever, we want to know. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can hit like and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you next time. Bye. Hi, Goose. All right. Merry Christmas! Are you not gonna say it?
Oh, am I supposed to say it too? Oh.
This will be a blooper reel.
Oh, God.
1, 2, 3. I'll get it.
That's fine. It wants to stay here. You can do it.
Okay. There. Magic.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I did. Just like that.